Christian McCaffrey's season, much like San Francisco's, really hasn't gone to plan. First, he misses the entire start of the season with bilateral Achilles tendonitis, and now 3 games back from this injury, he's only averaging 3.5 yards a carry, which is worse than the Raiders' 3.7, which is the lowest across the entire NFL, and a far cry from his 5.4 yards carry we only saw a year ago. And even his backup Jordan Mason has been able to average 5.1 yards a carry this year. So in this video, I want to examine exactly what's been going wrong in Christian McCaffrey's return and if these issues are actually addressable going forward. Starting out, a lot of people are saying Christian McCaffrey just needs more games under his belt to get his feet underneath him, and I think what they're seeing on film is how he's just not seeing the field well right now, and this is probably because he's taken off so many games. In this Seahawks game, for instance, San Francisco is running a counter with Deebo Samuel dressing it up, but as you can see on this play, there's a wide open cutback lane for McCaffrey to hit. But unlike years past, he doesn't hit that lane, cuts it into the teeth of the defense, and maybe picks up a couple. And from what I've seen, this has been a pretty consistent issue from McCaffrey. In this most recent Green Bay game, for instance, on this play, they're running a zone which has McCaffrey reading outside in, seeing if he has any cutback lane forming on the inside. But because 93 sheds this block almost instantly on Brindle, he should be bouncing it on the outside shoulder of Banks. And I get it, retrospectively, all of this is easy to point out on film, but when you have another back like Jordan Mason who's nailing each one of his cuts and looks decisive out there, you might want to question if you should be playing him a little bit more than McCaffrey at this point. Mason's run style often fits San Francisco's plays a lot better too. When you're running inside the middle of the defense, I think this is where Mason has to come on the field. He's not only more physical, but he also would keep Christian McCaffrey out of harm's way, getting a couple of yards where Christian McCaffrey is actually better suited for outside runs or even running from the slot doesn't seem worth it to me. So my solution is using Christian McCaffrey, but using him in conjunction with Jordan Mason. Throw Christian McCaffrey in the game when you're using outside tosses, sweeps, outside zones, anything that really gets him out in open space. Meanwhile, you can bring in Mason for some of those power type of runs, and you can even keep them both on the field at the same time. You can have Christian McCaffrey motion to the slot, or even motion Jordan Mason to the slot and then run it with Christian McCaffrey. I think there's a lot of ways to be creative with this backfield that can be extremely successful. When San Francisco had Harbaugh as their coach, for instance, they had Hunter, Gore, and then they threw in Dixon in short yardage situations. In a similar way with this team, I think that Jordan Mason and McCaffrey both need to see playing time. Because even though McCaffrey has really struggled with his inside runs so far this year, when he gets out in open space, it seems like he's able to see the field a lot better, and then his elusiveness is able to come alive. He's also one of San Francisco's better options in the passing game, whether that be in the backfield like in this Buccaneers game where he absolutely torches this defense with the wheel route, or even when you put him in the slot, motion him over like here in this Green Bay game, and then he can go on a quick out, and because of his insane change of direction, not many DBs or linebackers can keep up. Even if Kyle Shanahan decides not to mix in more Jordan Mason though, I do think Christian McCaffrey is going to be a back that continues to improve. He's someone that really works on his mistakes, and when you're seeing things like this on film, it's not that he's necessarily physically limited, he's just mentally still getting into football shape. He hasn't been playing with anyone for a while, and it shows on film, but I think when he watches the film back, he'll see these little errors and continually refine his game. But ultimately, these are just my thoughts about Christian McCaffrey, the best way to use McCaffrey and Mason, and what I think is probably most likely. McCaffrey getting the bulk of the carries, but with more time, he definitely will improve. But ultimately, these are just some of my thoughts about Christian McCaffrey's pretty lackluster season, and I'd like to hear your thoughts down below. It would also mean a ton to me if you could like and subscribe, and as always, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.